Well, welcome back to our mat side sofa, day 3 of competition at the World Championships here in Tokyo. We're at the Nippon Budokan. Neil Adams, Loretta Cusack and myself. And I'm going to start with Loretta just to make sure that she's fresh from, we just dragged her from mat 2. Loretta, tell us a little bit about what you saw there.
It was some really interesting matches, and one that you've got to talk about, Cioglu, Turkey. What an athlete. He really has performed outstanding today and deserved that mention. But the one that we started off at the beginning of the day saying that was going to be the sort of favourite for Japan, Ono, he's been untouchable. No one has even got anywhere close to him. He has disposed of all the opposition to this semi-final, and it'll be interesting to see how he gets on with the Russian Yartsev. Now, Yartsev he had...
That's in the semi-final, yeah?
Semi-final. He has... Yartsev just fought Matmabekov there, and that was really a tough match. Then the maturity, I think, which was the ingredient that drew him through into that semi-final. But there were some really nice matches, and there was some surprises as well that was along the way, but I enjoyed it. I think what was disappointing for me was that Vasily, he just didn't seem to be as sharp as I would have expected, and I think I put a lot of hopes on him coming through and doing a little bit more, but he was a bit flat for me.
Fabio Basile, I can't remember who it was that he lost out to now. I did have a little bit of a look at the contest.
I watched the contest, and I'm just trying to think who it was. Was it Butbol that he lost to?
It was definitely Butbol.
It was a real battle.
I'll tell you what was nice about it in the end when he lost, given his stature and the kind of bravado that he normally walks around with. Yeah, he's always, gracious in defeat, isn't he?
No, he's cocky.
Yeah, well, he's cocky, but he takes the loss. He doesn't, puff his chest up. Let me just come to Neil about Ono, and then we'll come back to Basile.
What can you say? He's so cool, calm and collected. He was looking at his watch all the way through the contest thinking, I've got somewhere to be here, guys, you know what I mean? How dare you stop me from throwing your frip on? And it was almost like that, wasn't it? And I just think he's got so much confidence, and he's got so much range of technique, and he just has to settle down. Everybody's coming out there, to stop him throwing with the Uchimata, and so he says, well, I'll throw you with something else then. And he really is so good. I think it's going to be a good match with Ayatsev, I have to say, in that semi-final. I think Ayatsev will come out to fight him. He has beaten him before, and I think that he'll try and spoil him.
Okay, we've got that to look forward to. Who else did you see in the weight category that is worth mentioning?
In the under-73s, well, let's have a wee look that I thought that brought a little bit of excitement to me. Well, do you know, Chain of France, he was good. He started off really well, but it then went a little bit pear-shaped for him against Yartsev, and he got a split in the eye, and it just sort of went downhill for him after that. But that was definitely a good performance for him. This is the best I've seen for a long time from the Frenchman, and but he was up against a better man on the day.
Well, I think we're guaranteed an Azeri in the final, and I think that that is a semi-final, 2 Azeris. We've got Hyderov and Orozhov. They're both going to be fighting, I think, not only for their Olympic place, but also for a final place in the World Championship. So, credit to them, what depth they've got in that weight category.
Did you get to see either of them, Loretta? Orozhov or Hidarov?
No, I didn't. But
okay, so they were on the other mat, yeah.
The other mat, but there was one that, again, I thought, where on earth has he come from? That was really good, and that was Nunes dos Santos from Luxembourg.
I think he might be Brazilian,
Yeah.
And moved over to Luxembourg. No, dos Santos. I just think that.
Maybe a family name or whatever, but I didn't want to say too much, but what match. He was great.
He does speak German, though.
Oh, does he? Right, I've not spoke to him. I've not spoke to him.
He would know things.
No, because I heard the coach shouting out to him in German after he'd won. He put in an expletive about the performance. Luckily, you know, our microphone, we caught it, but we dumbed down those, you know, bad words.
But he's actually a very young athlete as well. I think he's got when I was looking him up to find out who is he, what has he done, and all I got was junior results. He hasn't actually fought in the World Tour.
Right, we're gonna stay with you for the under 57 kilo category. Where do you want to start with that? Who did you get to see? What do you want to tell us about?
It was a great weight. There was no doubt about it. I enjoyed it. The biggest surprise, biggest possibly disappointment was seeing Smythe Davis go out in the second round, because she had a bye in the first round, so she went out. I was surprised on the performance. I think that's what was disappointing. Not that she got beat, because the athlete that she fought against was Kim, who was very strong and just caught her with a lovely ouchigari a couple of times. She threatened her with the ouchigari, and it was what was the winning factor for her, and then she ended up holding her down for the full time. But for me, she was flat, completely flat. There was heavy breathing, and I'm thinking, where's that come from? Totally surprised from that. But Yoshida, no one's stopping her, is there, really? She's just she's on a roll. She's banging through every stage, every round, and I can't see Silva touching her. I really cannot.
She did have one close call, though, didn't she? Yoshida. She was down Wazari. She was on her way out.
See that? Was that with Nelson Levy? Was that the match?
No. No, that was against Yulia Kowalczyk. Kowalczyk had she threw her for Wazari. She was on her way out. It was, I think, about 10 seconds left to go. She caught her, and then in golden score, Kowalczyk went into Newaza. And Neil and I said, "Get out of there."
Absolutely.
Didn't happen. Yeah.
The last one, Deguchi. What a player she is. She has fought a blinder today. She's been magnificent. I could see that Deguchi's day being on that top podium.
She also had a little bit of a close call, because the French girl, Sarah Leone Cizik, threw her for Wazari as well. That looked a bit as though she was a bit into trouble. And then she came up with an absolute spanker to flatten her. And the Kiai at the end, to me, because, you know, she's quite reserved, isn't she? But the Kiai at the end said, "Take that." Yeah. Beautiful finish.
For me, I think Deguchi probably the favourite for the category now. I think Yoshida looked just a tiny bit off. Her timing just looked a tiny bit off for me. But she always kept coming forward. Shows what a great champion she is. And I think that she's got to get through Rafaela Silva, the Olympic champion. Rafaela Silva has been killing them today. She's been really on good form. She's full of confidence. So Yoshida, first of all, has got to get past her. I think Silva's going to go through her, and I think Deguchi's going to beat Silva in the final.
Okay, we shall see all of that unfold in the not too distant future. Before we go for a break, we had a chat this morning, Loretta Kusak and myself, about an action that has raised, a bit of controversy. It was the contest between Abe Hihumi, the bronze medalist from yesterday, and the bronze medal match, and Manuel Lombardo of Italy. And in this contest, Abe attacked Lombardo with Seoinage. Lombardo ends up countering. He gets Ippon. He counters him with the Yoko Sutemiwaza. And then they have a referee commission decision. What they're looking at here is whether or not, during the Keishiwaza, Lombardo makes contact with the mat before there's any contact whatsoever with the tatami by Abe.
Yes. And you can see quite clearly there, Sheldon, that there is absolute contact. And Keishiwaza states that you cannot. Now, when we were commentating yesterday...
We never saw that.
Well, we didn't see it from this angle, and seeing it from this angle now, you can see quite clearly that the Keishiwaza that he does, and it is a counter. It's not a direct attack. It's certainly an attack off Abe, and so the counter, you're not allowed to use the mat area. You're not allowed to go on your own back in order to use the momentum to score. That's what the rules say. So it wasn't a score.
Now, I held up my hand this morning and said, hey, last night for me, that was Lombardo's score, because I hadn't seen that other angle. Everything that I had looked at said to me that was Lombardo's score. Loretta, you were of the same opinion up until that point?
Yes, I was. And then when we looked back on it, and it was repeated and repeated over and over again, my opinions had changed. And what was more evident then was Abe had come in for the Seoinage, had that grip, and he had control right through down to the end until that last stage of turning. And yeah, you could see the acceleration. When you look at the movements here right now, there as he's starting to land, would you have said even at that stage possibly that it could have been a score for Abe?
Is Sheldon, is that there will be people out there saying, yes, but it's Kayashiwaza, and so therefore it should be allowed. What you've got to bear in mind is that we've seen this now 10 times. And we've watched it all the way through the night just to come to the conclusion that definitely he used his back. Can you imagine how many referees are out there have to make a split-second decision as to whether that is a score or not? And this is the reason that we made the rule that, and it is black and white. If you go on your back to use the mat, it's not a score. At least everybody knows. So now that we've looked at this, we know it's not a score.
And the thing about it was, yesterday we were in complete agreement with the referee. So for me, this has got nothing to do with refereeing mistake here. The thing is, he gave that score because that was what was available from the position that he was standing in. It's a team. There are two other judges there and the refereeing commission who later had access to all of the replays, were able to study it, and they were able to see things that he could not because that was a different position. See, look where he is. He's on this side. The camera that gives us the best view is on the other side, which he doesn't have access to. So I've got absolutely no problem with saying I give Ippon for that.
No, and the other thing as well, Sheldon, is that the fighters know exactly what the score is. If it was the other way around, he'd be going, no, so if it was switched the other way around, then he'd say that was definitely my score. I initiated the technique.
Yeah, and we had, as Neil said, we had to find a way where we could cover this debate about whose score it was, because right up until the end, Abe believes that he's still pushing and driving with the feet and forcing a Seoinage when Lombardo lands.
And he was.
And he was. Yes. Part way through that being pushed, Lombardo has recognized the need now to begin to affect a Keishiwaza. But what he cannot escape is that his initial movement towards the tatami was brought about by an action from Abe. So at what point do we say yours ends and his begins? Exactly. We're going to kill ourselves with confusion. We've decided that if you end up using the tatami during the Keishiwaza to execute your technique, there will be no score.
And also just bear in mind that if, for example, he did turn completely onto his side and then placed his opponent down onto the mat, then it would be a score. So Kayashiwaza is still in existence. We've just drawn a line. They all know the line. They came into this World Championships knowing the line. He knows the line. Abe knows the line. Coaches should know the line as well. Everybody knows the line. At least then we can have some kind of consistency with results.
Okay, and no doubt at home you still have your own opinion on whether that was a score or not. You can completely disregard us if you like. What we want to do, however, is to explain to you at home why that was reviewed and why that decision was overturned. I hope that helps towards an explanation as to why it was reviewed and why it was overturned. We hope we're not going to have many more of those because they are kind of controversial, and we obviously nobody wants to get involved in that. We're going to get involved in something called late lunch because it's just after 4:15. We're going to be back at 7 o'clock with all the action from the final block, the repechage contests, semi-finals, and all the medal matches from Loretta Cusack-Doyle and Neil Adams, myself. It's bye-bye for now.
Bye for now.